This is Talk with the Times at the Loudoun Times-Mirror in Leesburg, Virginia.
Hello and welcome to Talk with the Times. I'm your host, David D'Onofrio. Joining me is Nicholas Graham, editor-at-large of the Loudoun Times-Mirror. Nicholas, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Big week here in Loudoun County. A lot of business activity at the Board of Supervisors. Let's kick it off with the HCA vote on Monday. A little bit of a surprise. They suspended the rules and voted on it 9-0. HCA is coming to Loudoun County.
Not even the Redskins got 9-0 on anything in Loudoun County. So that was, it's been a long time. Just go back to the first part of what you said. I think for the first time in a very, very long time that a lot of people can remember, we had three really weighty issues on the agenda this week that will have a very huge impact on life in Loudoun County and on business in Loudoun County. Hopefully for the better, at least we think so. There was the hospital, as you said. There was, in addition to that, there was an item on the agenda about bringing radio back, WAGE, back to Loudoun County. And then, of course, the very complex and often discussed Kincora project. So on the hospital, well done. It's about time. They've been at this now for almost 10 years when it was originally proposed back in, I think, 2000 or 2001. Right. That debate, when it was the debate was talking about locating the hospital in Broadlands, was very, very, very passionate on both sides. And so, it's great to have a second hospital in Loudoun County like that, 164 beds, definitely necessary. Will also be an economic engine for that part of the county.
Right, down on Route 50.
Exactly, in South Riding.
Right.
Located in a very good place. So it's good for healthcare. It's good for commercial activity. It's good for jobs. It's a win-win all around.
It is. Now moving on to the second item in that little trifecta of business opportunities this past Monday, Kincora at the intersection of 28 and Route 7. Was roundly debated, lots of public input, and it'll go to a committee of the whole, which is the entire board, on May 18th for conversation. What did you hear out in the audience?
Well, I was there and listened intently to a lot of the discussions. Most of the people that did show up in person there were talking in favor of it on many different grounds. The project as a whole is mixed use concept. There are some leisure and entertainment aspects to it, which are very appealing.
Which was approved last year by a special exception by the Board of Supervisors.
In addition to the movie theater and an auditorium, which would be there. There's dwellings that will be there. There's a lot of commercial space that will be there as well, hotels and restaurants and so forth. We've taken a stand on this before in favor of the project. That hasn't changed. If anything, I think we've become more solid and firm in our commitment to seeing this project go through and be made. We hope it does.
One of the interesting aspects is Windy Hill Foundation is going to be doing workforce housing there. It's one of the parts of the proposal there. I think Windy Hill's done a great project out in Middleburg, trying to bring that same sort of
low-income dwelling units.
Right, focused on teachers, firefighters, police, and
that's really important from the perspective of the fact that there's we have a housing crisis in this county in terms of home prices. Everybody knows that.
Everything's up, and
that affects the county budget as we've discussed before. But there's also a housing crisis in this county in the form of affordable dwelling units that are located in highly trafficked areas that won't rely on transportation. This is one of them. One of the great benefits of this is obviously roads. The discussion about roads is very important. On the other side of this, there was a lot of concern about whether or not this project is going to be too expensive for the county, whether or not it's going to cause traffic congestion. There are some environmental aspects of this. Again, we feel that that those have been addressed by the developers and the people involved in the project. We would like to see some modifications done in a positive way to make the project even more palatable to all sides. But we're getting close to a point now where our feeling is, we need to just kind of fish or cut bait.
Right, and then again, that'll be up for full debate before the board on May 18th, the committee of the whole.
Lots of discussion and lots of dissension probably too.
Always lots of discussion.
Yes.
Moving on to the last of these three, radio.
This is my favorite part.
Now, you find it ironic that you're a newspaper, we're on the web, and we're talking about radio. So we're hitting all of the mediums today of the media. WAGE's gone dark here in Loudoun County.
As of August last year.
Correct, right. And so they're in the efforts of trying to expand and improve the station, make it a 50,000 watt station. But to do that, they need three 195-foot towers located on the Loudoun Water property along Loudoun County Parkway, and that was discussed on Monday as well.
That was the big focus. The focus of the Board of Supervisors isn't to talk about what disc jockeys are going to be on or what the program format is going to be. Of course, that's the consumer. That's my interest. As a consumer, I'd like to know what's coming back that they had before, what's new and interesting that they're going to have. the sole focus of the supervisors really was to decide whether or not the location was the right location, whether it fit into the plan, and whether there were going to be any other adverse impacts of the tower. I think the supporters of that project have put a lot of effort into this. They've convinced the Planning Commission, which is a critical first step. And I think that some of the questions that were asked before were what the tower is going to look like and what the visual impact is going to be.
Lots of pictures of the visual impact
this
across.
is going to be located at the Loudoun Water Facility. But there really is, which a lot of people don't understand outside of the board and county staff, there really is very, very few places, really only one place in the county where this can go for a lot of different reasons we don't have time to get into. Look, even though we are a newspaper, we believe that this is a multimedia county. We've done things
as evidenced by the show.
On the newspaper, the show, our new website to make it multimedia, but there's a certain level of nostalgia that radio brings here. We are a growing county. There is room in this county for a radio station and for other media outlets to coexist.
I don't know a person who doesn't have some wage story about where I was when I heard something about on wage that I needed to know, whether it was 9/11 or some other important information that was portrayed or was disseminated on wage. So
the interesting thing is some of the people that spoke in favor of it was Commonwealth's Attorney Jim Plowman, who spoke about on safety, Amber Alerts, missing persons, critical law enforcement announcements, which is a part of the story. Charity spoke also there to talk about how radio stations can have public programming and announcements that support charities and races and events in Loudoun County. So it's just something that I think every county the size of Loudoun should have. And I'm very interested to see what the program is. I've seen the plans. I think that they've done a lot to mitigate the environmental impact. They're putting back, they're building back in a ton of space and vegetation that will be taken out a little bit, in terms of the construction of this. I think Jim Weitzman with his radio group is very passionate about this and very committed. You can see that in talking to him. So I think it's got to come, and I think it should be approved.
They go to the the Transportation and Land Use Committee, hopefully before the Board of Supervisors soon, and they are facing a late October deadline to get back on the air, and hopefully nice folks at Wage can get back there and add a little bit more to the multimedia circus that is Loudoun County.
That's right.
Well, a great week here in Loudoun County for business.
A great week.
Read the Loudoun Times-Mirror. There are several editorials and stories on all of this stuff. For Nicholas Graham, I'm David D'Onofrio. This has been Talk with the Times.